So, welcome back to Chapter 6, Ship of Fools. So, last time Peat laid out his straw man of what he perceives to be essentially the medical process that his fake patient would go through, assuming that she actually went through all these, she apparently died. So, now we continue with Chapter 6, Ship of Fools, where he's going to try and convince you that you are, as the chapter says, that you're being fooled. And we'll get into why later on in this chapter. MDs would have you believe that the reason you are sick because of some mysterious and undiscovered bad gene. They would have you believe that they have been unable to find cures to arthritis. They certainly don't have a cure, given the very nature of arthritis. Cancer, again, given the very nature of cancer and how varied and different it is. High blood pressure, osteoporosis, insomnia, depression, obesity, kidney disease, fibromyalgia, kidneys, migraine headaches, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, underactive thyroid, kidney stones, overactive thyroid, blah 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 blah. He basically just starts listing things which we do have treatments for, and certainly no doctor would be, go out of his way to say, yes, we have a cure, because that would just be absolutely ridiculous. Again, everyone's body is different. Different bodies react different ways to different things. Doctors know this. This is why they are trained. Again, this guy just thinks that, your body is out of balance because, you've got too much black bile. So, we need to rebalance it. So, this is, again, in my continued flabbergastedness of this. I don't even know if that's technically a word. I know flabbergasted is, but yeah, I'm just continually flabbergasted by this guy. Where did we leave off? Yes. Because of some undiscovered genetic something. Yeah, some undiscovered genetic something, because, genetic diseases are a thing. It could be possible. It couldn't be possible because they are just incompetent at what they do. No, doctors certainly aren't incompetent, considering the amount of training they do and the amount of tests they have to take and structures that are in place to, keep them on their toes. Compared to someone who's like an ND, for example, who has no accountability, whose board of, directors are fudging the numbers, who we know, for example, their tests are so awful that they pass people with a really low pass rate because of how many actually fail it and don't understand it. The exam board themselves that administer the naturopathic test have admitted how bad their exams are. So yes, I'm sorry, but who's coming off worst here? It's certainly not the MDs. It must be genetic. This is a PR message. It's not a PR message, it's science. That we are being fed by the medical industry, and it is ridiculous. Everything from autism to xenophobia is blamed on genetics. Well, autism certainly has links to genetic problems, something to do with genetics, as far as what I can tell, and what a lot of experts have said. But xenophobia, certainly not. At least that's the first time I've ever heard that. It is blamed on genetics, and the average American, upon hearing the word genetic, feels intellectually inferior, shuts up, and immediately stops questioning the presumements of a smart MD. Okay, genetics are incredibly complicated. When I've looked at it, it just goes straight over my head. And that's not because it's complicated on purpose. It's because the field is so complex. There is so much knowledge and so much going on. And again, it's very much a field where new discoveries are being made all the time. So again, this guy once again shows that he has no knowledge of science and no knowledge of the medical field that he's talking about. And yet again, I have to question, why do people think that this guy is right? This is how they get away with their BS. No, it's not. MDs are more than happy to explain it to people. They know that their treatments don't work. No, that's a lie. That's a complete lie. But instead of revisiting their reductionist philosophy of health and starting over, again, it's not a reductionist philosophy in no way, shape or form. We've already discussed that it no way is in the last couple of chapters. Certainly the first 2 chapters. And again, start again. Are you basically saying that our entire medical field of knowledge should basically just go back to like the early 19th century? You know, that's just so stupid. MDs arrogantly presume that their poor treatment outcomes couldn't possibly be their fault. No, that's certainly what people like you do, Pete. And again, you've only got to look at the Gerson therapy, who, when people's cancer gets worse, they claim that they are this amazing clinic, but they don't even have proper medical testing equipment to keep track of people's cancers. And when people have gotten worse, instead of taking them to the nearest hospital, they take them, put them in a cab, send them back across the border, and as far as we know, they leave them at the local Denny's, where they then have to have medical treatment. You know, there's the story of the woman whose tumour got to the size of a football, and then she had to have radiation treatment to get it smaller so that they could operate on it. This is what these people do. Again, Jennifer Fruley, one of the people that I've recently done a video on, her doctor was making a video while she was still alive saying that she was getting better, she was being healthy, and that she was being cured. A couple of months after that video came out, what happened? She died. Whoops. Not his fault, apparently. It's Jennifer's fault. But you know, yeah, MDs are fault. Yeah. So they place all their blame at the feet of their patients. No, they don't. I've never heard a doctor actually place the blame of a treatment failing at a patient's the fault of the patient. I've heard people on your side do it, Pete. They do it all the time. The patient got sick and died because they had a bad gene. No doctor in their right mind would ever say that. The next time an MD tells you that your condition is genetic, which, again, it very well might be, or you might have a history of this in your family, and as we know, it comes down to genetics. So if you have a history of heart problems in your family, then guess what? Because of your genetics, you might have a high chance of heart problems in your family, etc., etc., etc. This is a scientifically proven thing. Here's what you do. Pause, breathe, and look them in the eye and say, really, my condition is genetic. Well, okay. Exactly which gene seems to be the problem? That is a stupid question to ask. This question is unanswerable because the field of genetics is so complicated that no one can ever make this determination, except we have made this determination on a lot of genes. We've found a lot of these problem genes. We've identified genes. Again, this guy knows nothing about the field he's talking about, and yet he presumes to somehow tell people that they're being fooled. MDs presume that your problem is genetic, but they speak as if it is a fact. It is not. If any doctor tells you that your disease is genetic, they are lying. They are probably not. Again, it entirely depends on your situation, your circumstances, what is wrong with you. What they really mean is, what you think they mean, Pete, from your no experience. Well, I really have no idea at all what is causing your problem, but instead of admitting my ignorance and appearing stupid, why do doctors want to ignore appearing stupid? I will simply blame it on genetics. That'll be $250, please. Do you have your insurance card? That is just so stupid. Realize this book really hurts to read out loud, and I've finished reading it, but actually reading it aloud is so much worse, because you miss so many things, because he throws constantly in so many chapters so much mud at the wall that when you pick one thing, you miss several. If you put a frog into a pot of cold water and slowly bring the water to a boil, the frog will remain in the water and die. If you drop a frog into very hot water, it will immediately jump out. We are all like the first frog. Well, no, what he's trying to convince you here, and what has been the entire purpose so far of this book, is to convince you that your MD is a liar and that he's out to kill you, and essentially you should be really trusting people like Pete, and that's who you should be giving your money to. Have I gotten through to people yet, or is this just not hitting anyone? All we know is that all of our friends and family members get sicker and weaker with the march of time. That is true. We get older, our bodies start to shut down because of the thing called aging. This is a thing that happens. So we think to ourselves that all this doom and gloom is just part of the deal. We think that the aging equals sickness. Well, it is, because there are lots of problems with aging. Again, your body starts to shut down. It doesn't function as properly as it should, as much as you were when you were younger. Your body can't produce as many cells as it used to, so your body starts a slow, do I have to explain why? I really don't think I should, but there are people out there who need talking to. They really do. I mean, if our MDs get cancer, then what chance do we mere mortals have? We are slowly boiling to death because we have put all our money, all our trust into the hands of the wrong people for the job, the MDs, and we've bet on the wrong horse, and he is slowly killing us. What have I already said? He's already trying to convince you, the reader, that your MD is out to get you and out to kill you. Provided no truth, by the way, to this. This is complete hearsay. He's already established a straw man of what would supposedly happen. He's already guessing at what an MD might do. This is not the case at all. This is so ridiculous, it's unbelievable. Everybody in our country is sick because everybody eats the wrong foods all the time, and everybody is undernutrified all the time. What the hell does undernutrified mean? If you put diesel fuel into an unleaded engine, it will run like crap. If it runs all the time, your automobile engine needs 8 quarts of oil, but only has 3. It's only a matter of time before it seizes up. The exact same concept applies to the human body. Again, I've used this analogy about, about humans and, our engines and, but what this is so ridiculous, because I'm using it as a metaphor. He's actually using it as a literal interpretation. This is not rocket science, folks. It is certainly a type of science, if you give your body the correct fuel and all the raw materials it needs to operate efficiently every day, then you will rarely get sick and you will live a long and healthy life. It is just that simple. Well, I beg to differ, because vegans continually promote that they're some sort of immune gods, but again, they still get sick. They still get cancer. Again, prime example, Steve Jobs. Because everybody is sick, and we all think that our sickness is inevitable or genetic or the function of aging. We mistakenly believe that as we get older, this is filling someone with hope. This is what he's trying to do. And it's a very good marketing ploy, I'll tell you that now. The more our bodies must deteriorate. Just look around. There are tons of evidence to support this. Belief. Well, everybody is sick. Oy vey. In reality, we have no perspective on the matter, because the only type of medicine that our friends and family members use is MD medicine. Because, again, he's trying to convince you he deserves a seat at the table. He does not deserve a seat at the table. Again, he has no scientific evidence any of his treatments work. And yet, these supposed MDs have libraries upon mountains of vast quantities of evidence to support that their stuff works. This guy wrote a book and literally, I'll let you in no secret now, provides sod all evidence that any of the treatments he provides works, other than his anecdotal word on it. The only type of medicine allowed by our hospitals is MD medicine. See, if he also wants to be able to get into hospitals, that would be absolutely ridiculous. I would love to see what would happen if you got a naturopath and an MD and you got a patient, and I would love to see, put them on either side of the bed and just watch what would happen. That would be hilarious to watch. And the only type of medicine that our insurance will pay for is MD medicine. And we all know that under our MD's care, that it is expected that we should get sick and die as part of the normal process of aging. No, that's not the case at all. So guess what happens? The older we get, the sicker we get, and we die. And then our misguided relatives, who are also boiling to death, oh my god. In our MD disease management pot of water, donate lots of money to MD-directed drug research in the... So he wants to stop people like, Cancer Research UK, or maybe, for example, the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge from happening. Now, I don't know what his thoughts were that. I'm going to have to actually look up what his thoughts on that were. But giving money to these people and these research charities do research results. Again, all that money that from the Ice Bucket Challenge has funded a breakthrough in ALS research. These, things do work. And then what? Because I guarantee you, if this guy got a seat at the table, let's say that is achieved, what will happen? Oh, look, there's this fund for natural cancer remedy growers. What a pot of water to throw that down into. I've said this before, that if I was if I was a dishonest person, I would become a naturopathic doctor, or I would become a conspiracy theorist and start peddling inane theories, because my god, the amount of people that believe drivel like this is unbelievable. In a vain attempt to find a cure to heart disease, arthritis or cancer, or what it is that killed us, even though holistic doctors have been curing these for over 3,000 years. What evidence do you have of that, Pete? Because you don't have any. On the ship of fools, you can guess what these sane physicians are called. It rhymes with jackass. So once again, Peat finishes off a chapter of pure, complete dickery and just outside complete nonsense. Again, that whole chapter, again, was just bashing MDs and trying to convince you, the reader, that you're an idiot for believing you're MDs. Because again, what's his end goal? To stop you going to your MD and put money into his back pocket. And the next chapter's even funner. Chapter 7, Facts Are Stubborn Things. See you next time, folks.